right now. Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome inside the Fan Cave. This is the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. Bob Pompeani here in the Fan Cave. All you have to do to reach us is call 412-575-2600. Chris Mueller in tonight over at 93.7 The Fan. PM team going strong today. We have a lot to get into, but tonight we're going to lead with some golf, Chris, because some interesting developments with regard to qualifying for the U.S. Open. They call it the longest day in golf, and in many aspects of this, it's still going on out west. And there was a rain delay and a long one down in West Palm where Near Shipley is trying to qualify. He's still 3 shots off the final opportunity there. But the big news tonight was Matt Vogt, who is a guy who went to Seneca Valley High School, graduated, spent 6 years as a caddy at Oakmont, now as a dentist in Indianapolis. His dream was to always make it, and how about he did qualify, shooting 68 out in Washington, the state of Washington, and he is realizing a dream, coming back to play at the place he caddied. What a story that is.
Imagine, congratulations to him first off, Bob, and imagine my neighbor's confusion. We were over the neighbor's house for a little bit. Kids were playing tonight. My neighbor graduated from Seneca Valley. He goes, "Hey, there's a Seneca Valley guy who made the U.S. Open. He did it in Washington, PA?" I said, no, state of Washington. That's an awesome story, though. And I think that's what makes the longest day in golf so cool. I mean, you see, like an Eric Van Rooyen just blitzed the field at his qualifier. He was 6 clear of second place. But you have stories where guys like Max Homa, they're missing the cut. Players that you've never heard of because they're just random. Right, like guys who you see on Sundays and Saturdays are missing cuts for this. I think Graham McDowell won the U.S. Open. He didn't make it back in because it's not a lifetime exemption.
Yeah.
Webb Simpson didn't make it in. Blades Brown, I believe, did. So you've got these great stories of either up-and-comers or you've never heard of these types of guys who are making it, shooting great rounds, and doing so in some or even many cases alongside touring pros. I think it's one of the, I know there's not a lot of maybe people on the level of you or me when it comes to being avid golf fans, but for people that just casually wonder what we're talking about, it's honestly one of the coolest and most unique days in the sport.
And it's one of the hardest things to do. There are several stages of these qualifying areas that you have to get to just to get to this day. And when you're at this day, you're going to play all day, and then you have to play your best. And it's a grind if there ever was a grind. And another name I'm going to throw at you is a high school kid out of Georgia, 17-year-old Mason Howell. He qualified, and he's going to be at Oakmont. He's 17 years old. There were a couple of kids at 14 years old who failed, but man, Chris, I don't know what you were doing at 14, but trying to qualify for the U.S. Open was not on my agenda.
Bob, at 14, I was trying to break 43 at Clover Hill Golf Course in Franklin Park for 9 holes, okay? That's an executive course. And I was just praying I could get down to 41 or 40 on a good day. I'm just a 17-year-old out there. I mean, the rough's going to be about 17 inches high at Oakmont the way it's going. There are some, I think, apocryphal but maybe actually quite true horror stories of Rory McIlroy and Adam Scott over there today kind of testing things out. And let's say not meeting with a ton of success is what some of my Mulsey moles are telling me. So I think it's awesome for a 17-year-old kid to qualify. That's probably like an early life highlight. But get ready because Oakmont's going to spare nobody in a couple of weeks.
No, and we'll talk as we get closer to that about what you think the score may be. But Scottie Scheffler is going to be the overwhelming favorite. Everyone thinks he will. He's had a tremendous month of May where he's won the PGA and now this. Also another event, and 4th place in an event prior to this one. So, I mean, he's made $10 million. It's incredible stuff. We'll get into that as we go along. The other thing is Bailey Falter. I want to mention this because we were looking up some numbers for when else do you find a guy who has an 0.76 ERA for the entire month of May not win Pitcher of the Month, but he may not do that because of Andrew Abbott, who pitches for the Cincinnati Reds. We were looking at his numbers today, and they're ridiculous at a 0.55. He only gave up 2 runs all month. So what a bad month for Bailey Falter to do what he's doing.
Yeah, I think the reason Falter doesn't resonate, obviously, like the way Skeens does, he's not as the pitcher Skeens is or close to it, but I would say Falter, if you had to put me to a description of his Pirates tenure, I would say it's been more good than bad, excuse me. I know he kind of flies low under the radar, but when he's good, he's kind of really good, like an in-control lefty. And the reason he flies low under the radar is he doesn't strike out a ton of batters usually, but he's one of those guys that's a little bit of a throwback. He can touch high 90s, but he kind of knows how to pitch. He gets a lot of weak contact. He gets a lot of lazy fly balls. Guys don't hit the ball hard off of him when he's really, in a groove. And that doesn't get, I think, on the minds of the casual baseball fan the way it used to. But the numbers are the numbers. I mean, they're obscene. And when you have a guy pitching that well, you have Skeens pitching really well in the month of May, and you still have a losing record for the month. That kind of says something, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a commentary on how truly moribund this offense was, that they had two starters pitching to that quality and that degree that consistently, and they still weren't even close to being 500.
And you could throw in Mitch Keller, who had a pretty good month too, but got no run support either. Any run support at all, we probably have 4 wins. You see our KDKA.com Connect question of the night is, will the Steelers and TJ Watt get a new contract extension done? We have some interesting news there. Jerry Dulac talked about it earlier. We'll get into that and whether or not this thing is going to go all the way down to the very end before something is solved or not. We'll talk about it. We want your phone calls also at 412-575-2600. This is the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. We do it 7 nights a week on KDKA Plus and 93.7 The Fan. Call us and air your opinions right now. All right, this is our tweet of the night. It comes from Western Pennsylvania Golf Association. Josh Roundtree does a great job with the communications department, and he's soon to put this out. Return to Oakmont for Matt Vogt. I mean, it's just an incredible story, and what makes it even more, I guess, satisfying for him, or maybe sad for him, is his father passed away just a couple of months ago, and he was playing with his dad on his mind, and man, had to be looking down proud of his son. That's an amazing thing, Chris. But we'll see these guys coming up next week. There's plenty of stories out there. So just off the top of your head, you know how that place is going to be? It's 73, 72, par 70. Rough's going to be extremely high at 5 or 5.5 inches and thick because of all the rain, and the greens are going to be where they are. I've looked over the history of all these 9 events, and the best score, maybe Dustin Johnson. There's been a +13, a +11 over time. Even when there was a 3-man playoff back in '94, the best score was +3 in the playoff. Montgomery shot +7 and eliminated himself, and then 2 guys, Els and Lauren Roberts, go to a playoff, and Els wins at a +1 aggregate. My point is, it's going to be probably in that range, I would think, right? Over par, or you think someone's going to go under par, and could that be Scotty Scheffler?
If it doesn't rain a lot leading up to it, it's going to make the rough just slightly easier to handle, because it won't be as thick and as gnarly. It'll be as high, but it'll be a little easier for some of these guys to get through. I don't think that the winning score, though, as the course looks right now, is going to be better than par. Oakmont members, we know this. They take immense pride in the difficulty of the course, and they have the course that can back it up. I think we've been several years now since there was a U.S. Open score that was worse than -5, i.e. guys are generally going pretty low when they win this thing. They're finding ways to get to 6, 7 under par. I just think this is an absolute brute of a golf course. I think it's the toughest golf course in the world, and I think it's set up to be as tough as it can be. That said, I mean, if there is one dude who's going to go out there and just not make mistakes and continue to hit the shot that is required when it is required, it's Scotty Scheffler. I mean, you have an even better frame of reference than I do. I think with every passing week, Bob, the comparisons to Tiger circa 2000 to 2004, 2008, that era, that almost decade dominance that he had, they become less and less silly, because this guy is just a Terminator, especially when he has a 54-hole lead. I haven't seen anything like it since Tiger, I can tell you that much.
No question about it. The comparisons will start and they'll intensify as this goes on. But there's going to be a field of really talented guys pursuing him. By the way, you have a lot to talk about on your Going Low program on Saturday morning. So I look forward to that. And the next week after that, it should be loaded with stuff. But right
Bob,
now, yeah.
Let me throw one more thing out there. This also promotes Mr. Jeff Hathorn. Jeff and I will be doing a wrap-up show. So after my regular PM team, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of U.S. Open week, we'll be doing a 1-hour wrap-up. So a preview Wednesday on The Fan and then 2 first and second round wrap-ups respectively. So Jeff and I will be doing a little extra golf coverage for the golf psychos out there who can't get enough.
Well, that includes all of us, so that's good stuff. We have a special coming up on Saturday night, 7:30. Rich Walsh and I will go back over the history, and we'll talk about some places maybe you've never seen at Oakmont. That's all coming up on the championship at Oakmont. It's Saturday, 7:30 on KDKA. But right now, it's time to go out to line one. It's our #1 Cochran Go One Better caller of the night, and it's Jim in Peters Township. Hello, Jim. How are you?
Good, great. One thing I want to say about the Pirates, their scouting department is good on pitching, but the last hitter they produced, if I can remember right, was Andrew McCutcheon in 2009.
Yeah. I mean, as far as long-term success, Nick Gonzalez hopefully will be that guy. There are others in their system.
Do you count Brian Reynolds, though? Like, do we count Reynolds, or do we say, like, guy that they drafted and developed?
He was traded for, and, he was in the McCutcheon trade.
No, I understand. Well, I understand that, but, I mean, he came up and ultimately came through their system at the very end. But if you're talking drafted and developed, I mean, McCutcheon turned into a very good hitter. Pedro led the NL in home runs when that actually meant something with 36 back in 2013. Neil Walker, a solid above-average hitter for sure as a middle infielder. But, yeah, I mean, the point there is well taken. They are abysmal at developing these guys, and we've heard multiple people who have contacts within the organization and talk to people say they love to tinker. Like, it's a tinkering organization right now. I don't like that, Bob. I don't know about you. I think there's a time and a place. If a guy's swing is working, even if there's a quirk here or there, unless you see like a massive hole in the swing that's going to be exploited, let it go. And then I guess even on that front, though, you know what I'm going to bring up? Let's see if you can guess the player. Jose Bautista.
Oh, yeah.
Goes
Joey
from
Bats.
the Pirates, bounces, I think, to the Phillies, maybe to one more team. The Blue Jays get him, and suddenly they go, Eureka. There's a huge hitch in your swing that every pitcher's taking advantage of. Stop doing this one thing, and you'll become a monster, and he did. So, like, even when they have a guy who's got raw material but needs a little work, they don't tweak. And I know that's a different regime, but it's kind of a through line for the last 30 years with this team.
Well, today was interesting. We got a call on our show today with Joe and myself. And a guy made an interesting question, which I turned into a tweet. I'm just interested to hear your take, or anyone else out there who wants to make a comment here tonight at 412-575-2600. He proposed, since the Pirates need hitting, since the Red Sox need pitching, they both have the top 2 prospects in the game, one a hitter, one a pitcher. That's Bubba Chandler, the pitcher, and Roman Anthony, who is on the fast track to becoming you would think, a big hitting star. How about a 1-for-1 trade? And it's interesting that most people in my poll, and I had, I think, over 1,600 at the last check, said, no, don't make that trade. Would you make that trade?
I can't believe I'm saying this, but probably not, because I still think the most expensive and thereby most valuable commodity you can possibly have in Major League Baseball is elite young pitching. Now, that is an obvious, massive projection with Bubba Chandler, who has yet to grip the seams of a Major League Baseball and a Major League game. But, man, everybody seems as close to as high on him as they were on Paul Skeens. Like, really, the hype's not that far off. If he's anywhere close to what Skeens has been, look at what they have at the top of that rotation. I mean, it gives you so much more margin for error with your hitters if you have pitching like that. So I'm shocked that these words are coming out of my mouth, but I don't think I would actually make that deal.
Plus, I think it's harder for a hitter to come up and dominate. He could come up and take his time. He'll eventually be a good player, but, Chandler could come up and do what Skeens did. Not to that level, but simply earn that second spot, and that's it. But we also learned the lesson that if you don't have hitting, a lot of this pitching goes to waste, so they still have that to figure out, and there could be some trade deadline people out there like Mitch Keller, like Bailey Falter. Even though he has years of control and I like him, I'd like to keep him around, but hey, if the offer's good, you go and do it. So we'll see how that goes. Meanwhile, let's go out to Ed in Munhall. He wants to talk some football, and which we're going to get in that topic next. Go ahead, Ed.
Yeah, hi, Bob.
Hey.
Hi, Chris. Thanks for taking my call. I was wondering why the Pittsburgh Steelers don't have faith in Mason Rudolph.
Well, I mean, you could say that certainly because they let him go after 3 of his best games 2 years ago. But then they brought him back, and they only gave him, though, what amounts to a backup contract at $4 million plus or whatever it was per year. So that would indicate that I don't think they look at him as a starter. So to your point, I don't know the answer to that other than they want to see what he can do on this go-round. If they don't get Aaron Rodgers, which is this talking point that's been going on for 2 months here. But if there's no end in sight, he's going to be the man, Chris. There's nobody else you could bring in at this point, can you? Unless you make a trade.
No, I don't. I mean, I guess you could try to get Kirk Cousins away from the Falcons, but my God, I just threw up in my mouth a little even thinking about that actually happening. It's no thank you. I think they're pretty sure they're going to get Rodgers. I think Rodgers is better than Rudolph. I don't think Rodgers is great anymore, but Mason Rudolph, like pretty much all of us, contains multitudes, right? Contained in there is the guy who got benched rightfully for Duck Hodges in 2019 and just looked completely unprepared to take over as a starter. And then Mason Rudolph's also the guy that for a 3-game stretch, or especially a 2-game stretch, Cincy and Seattle, I would say played the best quarterback we've seen played here since Ben left, maybe with the exception of Russell Wilson's very early start to his Steelers career. But I think he is what he is. I think you get Mason Rudolph and you probably got a pretty high-level backup, but I don't think he's going to be anybody's long-term answer. I mean, if he is, then it's a Geno Smith 2.0 story of a guy who waited a pretty long time and then finally got the opportunity and ran with it. But look at what he was in Tennessee last year. I know that was a pretty dysfunctional or just not very talented group, but he wasn't that good. He just wasn't. Like, I would love for this story to end differently for him, for how many times the Steelers have kind of looked the other way and tried to find somebody else, but I think he kind of is what he is. And you know what? He doesn't take the deal that they offered him, I don't think, if he doesn't know sort of what he is and where he fits in the pecking order.
Yeah. Well, listen, I've seen guys take their time and develop. The Sam Darnold stories are out there. Not saying he can match that, but he can certainly, if he gets an opportunity, who knows, he might surprise people. When we come back, we're going to talk about that KDKA.com Connect poll, which is about TJ Watt. We'll get Chris's take on that and yours right here on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call, KDKA Plus and 93.7 The Fan. Ken Rice is at the anchor desk getting set for KDK News at 11 o'clock. What do you got, Ken?
Hey, Bob. Aliquippa School Board calling an emergency meeting to talk about the coach they let go less than 2 weeks earlier, plus a shot to see the Northern Lights without even leaving the state. And Kristen Emery is tracking a warm week for us coming up here all ahead at 11, Bob.
All right, Ken, thanks very much. All right, so the KDK.com Connect question is about TJ Watt. Most of our viewers think they will get a deal done. I tend to lean that way as well. Although Jerry Dulac had reported that there are a lot of hurdles yet to be overcome. So is your take the same, that something will get done, or do you think it'll get ugly at some point?
I mean, I think it's going to get ugly by their standards, and I think we know Jerry obviously has a very good relationship with the owner of the football team, and I think sometimes you can read between the lines. If Jerry's writing something, it might be what the owner feels about the situation or is anticipating about the situation. So I think they're very aware that TJ is going to want to be paid just like Myles Garrett or just like Max Crosby. And this is a cynical, hey, it's team on the front over name on the back. But I don't want to be in the business of giving a guy who just came off his least productive season $40 million a year or something close to it, or a deal that makes him feel like he's appreciated right at the top of the market, because I'm not positive he'll be a top of the market player in 2 years. Yeah,
it's going to be a very interesting situation to go through, and I don't believe it's going to end until September, just like the last time in 2021. It's going to wrap it up. That signal you see from Chris Mueller means it's over, and we are out of time. Join us tomorrow night, same time, same station, 10:35. We look forward to talking to you on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. Good night.